So some key information that you have to be aware of as a coach or a technical leader in this area before you really dive and develop your individual development plans and what that will look like. You have to keep in mind these 6 pillars here. The DNA and identity is really important. What's your club's mission, vision, values? Are they a recreational-based club that's going to focus a lot more on participation of players, just getting as many as possible for as long as possible? Or are you working at a professional academy which are driving more performance metrics, and it's about graduating players to higher levels of the game? This is going to impact how you structure this process. Game model. How do you want the game to be played? Are you looking at a very direct style of play? Are you looking at your branded tiki-taka style of play? Looking at, for example, clubs like Red Bull or Ajax or Barcelona, very defined structures and how they view the game. What does your club look at? And if they don't have one, what do you as a coach define as a philosophy? Curriculum. This is going to depend on age stage. So there's going to be a blend of learning and performance-based outcomes. If you're working with grassroots players, it'll lean towards learning-based outcomes. If dealing with youth, like most of you are, towards the senior, it'll lean towards more performance, but there's still some learning elements, especially in the youth side, so you have to be aware of when you're designing what you're trying to get across to them over the course of the season. The season plan, this looks more at the program from a younger side. So what training days, competition days, looking at a calendar almost in this area and what other events come in. If with the older groups, you're looking at periodization, so structuring it, making sure it's loaded correctly, that the players are not emotionally, but also physically loaded in the right ways to avoid injuries and maximize their performance. Coaching methodology. How do you operate as a coach? Are you proactive in your session design? So are you working towards the outcomes you've defined in your curriculum, independent of what you're seeing in the performances at matches or competitions? Or are you reactive? Are you looking at the performance in a given competition day and building your session plans in reaction to what you see there? Also, in terms of the session building style, is it progressive? Do you build in complexity and intensity within your session, or are you looking at a whole part whole or a game activity game method? There's key questions to keep in mind as you work through your individual development plan structure. And the last bit is what's your leadership style like? How do you intervene within a session? How do you intervene even outside a session, implementing some of the expectations you might have for the team? Are you transformational in approach, autocratic, authoritative? These are some self-awareness pieces which will be critical. But ask these questions of your club. If they don't have something, you may be able to start that conversation about talking to build some of these pieces.